Hi, I'm Bobbie Riley, and I'm going to speak of a document that I found online in regards to what assessment actually is, how to assess students' learning and performance, and how creating assignments can help teachers with this. First of all, what is assessment? It refers to all the processes employed by academic staff to make judgments about the achievement of students in units of study and over a course of study. Different processes can include devising assessment tasks, writing rubrics based on learning outcomes, judging students' achievements on those assessment tasks, providing feedback to students, and then determining grades. And the way teachers perceive assessment, it may include the way they teach and assess their student. How to assess students' learning and performance. Learning takes place in students' heads where teachers really aren't able to see how they're taking the information in or even how they're processing it and what they are going to be able to retain. This means that learning must be assessed through performance, what students can do with their learning. Assessing students' performance can involve assessments that are formal or informal, high or low stakes, anonymous, public, individual, or as a collective group, a classroom as a whole. I guess the first thing is when you're wanting to think of assessments and how you're going to assess your students, you need to base how you want to assess your students and how you create your assignments. Consider the learning objectives that you're reaching, that you're trying to obtain. Design assignments that are interesting and challenging, and double check your alignment. After creating your assignments, as an educator, especially a beginning educator, we need to go back to our learning objectives and make sure that there is still a good match between what we're trying to allow our students to learn and what we are asking them to do. If we find a mismatch, then we will need to adjust either their assignments or our learning objectives for the students. Using classroom assessment techniques. I found this very interesting, and I definitely will use this as a new educator. It's classroom assessment techniques, they call them CATs, are a set of specific activities that instructors can use to quickly gauge students' comprehension. They're generally used to assess students' understanding of material in the current course, but with modifications, they can also be used to gauge students' knowledge coming into a course or a program. CATs are meant to provide immediate feedback to the teacher about the entire class level of understanding, not just for individual students. The instructor can use this feedback to inform instructions such as speeding up or slowing down the pace of a lesson, or go ahead and addressing areas of confusion right then and there. They did list quite a few examples of appropriate questions that can be asked in the classroom assessment technique format. And again, I hope someone else in the class finds these helpful. I know I did. A few of the examples I'll give you two is how familiar are students with important names, events and places in history that they will need to know as background in order to understand the lectures and readings, such as in anthropology, literature, or political science. The question number two example is how are students applying knowledge and skills learned in this class to their own lives, for example, psychology or sociology. Another example that they listed here in the article was using specific types of CATs, such as a minute paper, which I thought was interesting. It says pose 1 to 2 questions in which students identify the most significant things they have learned from a given lesson, discussion, or assignment. Just allows the students a few moments to write down a paper to talk about what they have learned. And then the teacher would be able to evaluate by reading those papers on what it is that actually the students are taking in from her teaching, his or her teaching, I'm sorry. There's another example called the muddiest point. This is similar to the minute paper, but it focuses more on the areas of which the students are confused. You ask your students what was the muddiest point in today's lecture, or the homework, or the reading. I really, really like this because my second grade daughter actually does this in her classroom. And she said that it really helps clarify or clear up any confusion that she has. It gives them a minute or two to write and collect their responses. There's another example, directed paraphrasing. It's where you select an important concept or argument that students have studied in some depth and identify a real audience to whom your students should be able to explain this material in their own words. Example, a city council member, a vice president making a related decision. Provide guidelines about the length and purpose of the paraphrased explanation. This, I think, gives students opportunities to show what they know in their own words, and I like that idea as well. There's another interesting one, the classroom opinion polls. When you believe that your students may have pre-existing opinions about course-related issues, construct a very short 2 to 4 item questionnaire to help uncover students' opinions. Again, this gives the students a say in what they're learning and if they are actually comprehending what's given. I believe assessment comes in many different forms for different students, different teachers, different classrooms, I guess, different subjects. And I feel that as educators, we're going to need to be very creative with the way that we assess our students and allow them to be assessed in their own words. Allow them to tell us what they know in their own words. I hope someone else can find this useful. Thank you.